Hey, so good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our third interview. So this interview would be with our long friend of ours. His name is James. So welcome, James, to our podcast, Inder Mir Career Talk. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, don't worries. And then we also have our other colleague in there as well. In there, how's it going?
Pretty good. Enjoying my Valentine's Day, doing a podcast with you guys. Yeah, going well.
That's good. That's good. So yeah, for I guess for our new listeners and viewers who are joining this or listening to our third interview with James, just a quick rundown. So we just decided to start this podcast as I guess more of a project for innovation and improvement, but also mainly we just wanted to dissect people's careers in terms of their career aspirations, their fears that they may had, and also just connect with them on their career journey. So I hope everyone is able to understand that our mission and goal. So with that being said, I guess James, we can get started. If you can just give our listeners and viewers a quick introduction about yourself and what you're currently doing,
Mm-hmm.
if that's okay.
So name is James, as mentioned. What I'm doing right now is working as an analytics consultant at Mackenzie Health. So basically, my job there is basically make produce reports like graphs, charts, and stuff to help senior level leadership and healthcare stakeholders like doctors, nurses, in their decision making. So that is currently my job right now. And do you want me to give like a rundown of like my resume and stuff?
No, I don't need to give us a rundown, but I think okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But I guess for viewers and listeners who don't really understand the word analytics, if you can just define it a bit more. So in terms of layman terms, so what do you mean by analytics? Like if you can just provide a description from your understanding, that would be great.
Yeah. So like analytics, it's like numbers, bro. Numbers and graphs. That's basically the gist of it. And basically finding insights out of those numbers and graphs and to help make decisions. That's basically about it. Yeah. Like how much like supply of medication you got left in your hospital, that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Okay, so do you enjoy your work?
It's okay. It's a job. It pays the bills,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most jobs just pay the bills. That's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your plans right now? What are you looking forward to, or what do you think your life?
So right now, I'm looking at transitioning over to like the media industry. So like mainly going towards music production, media production, or like making videos. It's something that's been on my mind for like a majority of my life. I just haven't gotten around to it. And so I figured like the best time to be doing that kind of stuff was like in a pandemic, So like it gives you a perspective of life, and you just get like, man, I could die tomorrow, and like I haven't like accomplished like what I wanted to do. So like I figured, so that is why I decided to like make this switch now.
Could you explain the realization process? Like how did you end up deciding this? You said it was long awaited, but then when and how did it hit you?
This was when I was working as a business analyst back in Ottawa. I was just kind of sitting there in the office one day. It was like, and then like, that moment that everyone talks about having a quarter life crisis. So I'm pretty sure that was that. And like, I just sat there and was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Just sitting in a cubicle all day. And was like, just sitting there, just like they didn't have much work for me to do. So I just kind of sat there for 8 hours a day and just kind of thinking. Yeah, you had a lot of time to think. It was like, man, what the hell am I doing with my life? And so and then from that point on, I went to a career counselor in Ottawa at the Ottawa University, just like confirm my suspicions, man. Like, because this doesn't feel right. Is this my job is this my life for the next 40 years? Then retire and like do nothing, And so like I went to career counselor to confirm my suspicions, and it's like, yeah, I'm probably better off in like something more creative in the creative fields, like film or music, which is something that I've been that's been like bothering me, or something that's been in the back of my mind for like a really long time. So that's why I decided to like slowly transition towards media and doing music and stuff like that.
So
Yeah.
I will run with a few questions, Mir, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So when you say you had this interest in the back of your mind, so what was stopping you all these while? How old are you right now? And when
I'm
do you
20.
think? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
And when do you think you had that interest that started like showing up in media and?
Oh, this was like all the way back in like middle school, high school. Like one of my favorite things to do in middle school or high school, like in projects when they had to do like a presentation, I would always try to like implement some sort of video or skit inside of it. And that was like the most exciting part of like doing those projects. Even though it wasn't required, I would try to make like a stupid funny video that I can show the class, just to go along with my presentation. And slowly, like as time went on, it's mainly like my parents kind of like told me to like, oh, the top priority that you should be thinking about is like your education and like finding a stable job. That was like the number one thing, finding a stable job. And so I didn't really have the courage at that time to go up to my parents like, yo, mom, I want to make videos, I want to do funny shit, I want to make music and stuff like that. Like, so I didn't really have the courage. I was way too young too to like actually say something like that. So like I just kind of went along with the flow and like pursued a career in healthcare from like high school all the way up to now. And then like as a result of that, having that realization, like, man, this is more my parents' life for me rather than my life for myself, you know what I mean? And so that's how that came to fruition. Yeah.
Interesting. So you played along for as long as you could tolerate it.
Exactly.
But as soon as you ended up in the workforce, you experienced what the work culture is like and what the work is like, and you were coming to a realization that this is not necessarily what you want to do for a longer term. Maybe temporarily it could support you, and you could contribute to the world, but you still want to move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the other main thing here that I think everyone should realize is you pretty much said fuck it, right? Like in terms of like listening to your parents on what they had envisioned for you, and you wanted to pursue what you actually thought was the best thing to pursue. Like, am I correct in understanding that? Because that's what I got from that, from whatever you said.
Yeah, well, I didn't say like it was not a spur of the moment decision. I actually talked with my parents about it. They know like where I'm coming from and why I want to do it. So like, don't say fuck it and just abandon all your priorities and just like go live your dream. I try to have like that you have to have that conversation with your parents. If your parents are like mine, you have to have that conversation like, mom, dad, this is not really what I want to do. Yeah. I didn't say fuck it to them, like a slap. But
understood. But yeah, like a lot of people's parents now, well, in general, I guess like a lot of people don't really have that opportunity to just say that to their parents, right? Or to just come clean and be like, hey, mom and dad, like, like I decided to pursue like a new career transition. So a lot of people don't have that just because they're probably scared, or maybe their parents may have invested a lot of time and effort in them. So well, kudos to you, man. Like it takes guts to do that. So I really appreciate that you did that.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot,
taking hold of your life as well. So that it takes a lot of courage and guts. So
yeah.
So adding to that, James, I guess my other question is, in terms of your current career or work experiences, I mean, I guess in terms of informatics, I would say, or healthcare in general, what did you feel that wasn't working for you, right? Because there should have been a factor where you're like, yo, this is not working for me, right? So what was that?
I was never really interested in healthcare ever, like in general. I was just kind of like, it's the Asian thing to do, man. Like you either engineer, doctor, dentist. Like I tried going down each of like those paths. Like doctor didn't work. I was never gonna become a doctor. So like the one level lower is like a dentist. And then like I tried like doing a dentistry stuff for a while, and it was like, nah, fuck that. And so like now it was a compromise between like me and my parents doing like healthcare and technology, I was kind of like interested in technology, and then technology is also like a stable career, like engineering and stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting, but I was never really interested in healthcare. So that's why I decided to go to like health informatics, but as a compromise between technology and healthcare. But then I realized that this is still healthcare. The subject matter, in my opinion, is like I'm never really interested in it. I find it very boring. The material is very dry. I have a master's in it, for God's sake. But like that's the reason like why I'm going somewhere else, to find something more me, you know, not just like healthcare for its own sake.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the plan now? What's the next few steps that you're taking?
So right now I applied for 2 programs over at Ryerson University. It's like the top media programs in Canada, apparently. So it's like I applied for like a professional music program, which is doing like everything from management, production music, DJing, and like also media production, which combines like film as well, other types of media along with sound design. So like I'll see where those goes. I haven't been accepted or anything yet, so I'm just kind of waiting to see like if I get accepted into either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's my plan right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about so if you don't get accepted, let's say like hypothetically,
Right.
that doesn't happen, would you still try to pursue this path somehow?
Oh hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Because like I have been like doing it before too. So like in I think June of 2020, I started like making my own music and just like watching YouTube videos and taking online courses on like how to produce like music and stuff like that. So like since then I made about like 10 songs. And then like and then working full time, I decided to also attend this like weekend classes for introduction to music production, where you show up in person and just kind of like collaborate with like a bunch of other people. And so that was pretty fun. That lasted till about December. But now I'm looking for like the next level to get myself like higher, because I've reached a wall of like how good I can get my own in terms of like motivation and just right now I'm just kind of making music and stuff in a vacuum. You know, you don't really have that feedback from other people, and that's what I'm looking for. But hypothetically, if I like don't get in, then I'll try again, you know. Like I can't envision myself doing this type of stuff for another 40 years. I gotta make this change. So I'll try and make it work somehow, just like doing stuff on my own until I apply again. But yeah.
Okay. How about if you have something on your computer, why don't you just play 30 seconds? Just play something.
Oh,
you want
to play like a clip? Hold on.
Yeah, just do it here.
Yeah, why not?
I'll play on my phone. It won't be good quality.
It's free promotion too at the same time.
Oh yeah, check it out. SoundCloud is Blazing Eskimo, like no spaces.
Okay. We will certainly put that in the description box.
Yeah. Oh, might not be safe for work, but it has swearing. If that's I swear already. So
yeah,
like,
you did. So,
yeah.
Well, it's explicit content for LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll show you like the first like 10-20 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. Go for it.
It's time to abort your whole friggin' species, motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's like I'll stop now. But that was the first song that I made in June.
That was pretty good.
Back in June. Yeah.
So
who
you're
knows?
mixing.
You might be the next Deadmau5.
Yeah, hopefully. What? Sorry, go ahead.
You might be the next Deadmau5. You never know.
Hey, that's the dream, man. That's the dream.
Yeah.
No, but are you mixing it? Is that what you're doing, or what are you doing in this whole thing? Like,
oh, I made that whole thing. I mixed, mastered, and made the songs and gathered the samples to like put it together on. I think FL Studio was what I used for that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but cool. Great. Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Mir.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thanks for sharing, James. So I guess the question I have for you would be, like, you know, you just use some technical terms like FL6, right? Like me and Inder have no idea what that is about. So obviously, you know, like you transitioning from, I guess, informatics to music or to arts, like you have to learn those terminology or new softwares or, you know, new programs. So number one, or I guess the first question I had for you is, like, what steps did you take to go and learn? about those new softwares or production about music or arts? And number two, I guess, what advice would you have for people or listeners who are interested in going to music, like in terms of what they should be learning for these new programs? Like, should they be taking specific classes aside, or should they be enrolling in specific courses? Or maybe maybe they may be looking out for new mentors. So I guess just those two questions, if you can elaborate more on that, that would be great.
Yeah. So I'm in no means like an expert on the subject. I'm also just starting out, but a lot of like what I did was independent research on like what you needed to do. So I think what I did first was, well, let's put this out in the open here. I have about 9 years of piano experience. That was like back when I was younger. So like that's how I was able to naturally just pick up stuff, and I know what sounds right or sounds correct and sounds good. So like I already have that. So that is like a disclaimer. So from there, like it was very easy for me to pick up on like these new like the music software that you would need to like produce music. So what I did was I basically watched like YouTube videos, a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of YouTube videos that just show you like little bits and pieces of like the techniques of what you need to like put to make a song together. And like for example, there's a YouTube channel called In the Mix, which shows you like specific to this program, FL Studio, to show you like how to make like a song from scratch and stuff like that, and the fundamentals and stuff. From there, if you want to go up like to the next step, if you want, you can take like online classes that they offer at like Coursera or Udemy. They have a lot of like introduction to music production programs, and like, or introduction to like music production in general. And the software that I would recommend for absolute beginners is FL Studio, because it's very beginner friendly. The user interface is super nice. But since then I switched over to Ableton because I heard the workflow is a lot faster for that. For the next level, that's what I did. For the next level, I told you I attended like these weekly DJing music production classes over the weekend. So I just have the in-person experience and get like that feedback from another person, which I find is really valuable, which you don't get like doing that stuff alone. And I'm at that next level where I want to go back to school, where I can be able to collaborate with other people as well on a constant basis. So that's where I'm at.
So when it comes to a person who goes to the music industry per se, they either just start doing it on their own, and then they go up or collaborate or find other people online or in person, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
Versus someone going to the school, what do you think are the merits and demerits, or the advantages or disadvantages, either or?
Well, if you're doing it on your own, it's a kind of uphill battle. The music industry is set up to go against you, for you to not make money. Right now, we live in an age where like the internet, you can basically collaborate a lot with like anyone across the world. But and also like even you can create like music from your home. You don't need to go to the studio or like dish out like a bunch of money for like a bunch of stuff like that, because like everything you can like record stuff on your phone and just kind of put that stuff online. But the problem is, because everyone can do it, you're competing with everyone else. There's so many people you're competing with. It's very hard for you to be successful in the music industry. And I found like the number one thing that, based on my research and what I've read, is like the number one thing for you to be successful in the music industry is connections. You got to have like the right people listening to your music in order for you to like get up there. You can't just like put your music on SoundCloud and expect it to like blow up one day, You got to put in that work and like promote yourself somehow and like have that connection to get your music in the right hands. So that's why I'm going to school for that, because like the music industry is set up for you to fail. You can't really be successful on your own. It's very rare that happens, but with like streaming services like Spotify, like you seen like, how like a couple years ago they like Drake came out with like Scorpion. They've kind of pasted his picture everywhere across Spotify. How the hell is like independent artists supposed to compete with that shit? Where Drake can just throw money at like streaming services to advertise there's his stuff everywhere, right? And like the independent artists can't really get their name like up there easily when you're competing with like people with money. So that's why I recommend like trying to go to like an education system where you can have like connections. So That's
Okay,
why
so
I'm doing
so
it.
you're saying education system is facilitating connections. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Connections,
Or
yeah.
is there any other advantages that come with that as well?
Mentorship as well, like
Okay.
talking with like people who are already established in the industry. That's why I chose Ryerson. It has a very strong. It's in Toronto, which is like the hub of culture for Canada. So they have and also the feedback too. You need that feedback, that constant feedback, where you can constantly improve like what you make. So that's what I'm looking for as well.
Okay. It's a
Yeah.
pretty solid answer. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's great, James. I think you hit it on the coffin there, where you're like, oh, I guess the one way for you to get, I guess, more exposure to the music industry would be connections. But I think that could be applied for any career, right? Or
Right.
any
Yeah.
life. Like, I mean, connections is the key thing, right?
Mhm.
So that's great. So my question to you, James, the other question I had was, I mean, since you just told us that you're transitioning from informatics or healthcare to the music industry or arts,
Mhm.
so my question to you is, how will your previous or current experience help you with this new career journey? Like, I'm sure you thought about certain experiences that you had, whether it was in Ottawa or whether you're working currently in Toronto or in Halifax.
Mhm.
So I guess what experiences from those, I guess, instances did you think that it will help you in this new journey?
I think the biggest takeaway that I've had from those experiences, like being able to develop like a solid work ethic, because those programs like health informatics forces you to be in a position where you just constantly have to do the work or you fail, and you have to like set your time. You have to have the good time management. You gotta like know what your priorities are, and like in terms of like what you do. So like I find like that could really help me with my future endeavors, and also the technical aspect of it as well. So being in health informatics, you kind of learn like a different like technologies and like terms, and yeah, we had to learn like SQL and like Python and stuff, right? So I find like because of that technological like education, I find it's a lot easier to transition to like music production, where it's a lot of it is on the computer as well. You're just kind of sitting there and playing around with programs to like make their songs. So I find like that's the valuable part of my past that helps. Yeah.
Even like the algorithms and stuff like that, like if you were just we were exposed to different sort of algorithms, in data mining,
Right.
that kind of stuff, or analytics per se.
Analytics too. Yeah.
To leverage that in a way so that now you can understand. If you really want to dig down, you can actually look behind a software or a program, and you can try to understand why it works in a certain way, and if there's some bug, or if there's something that you could refine further by just knowing how the particular software operates. That could
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
No, that's great. Inder, do you have any other questions?
What would you say to someone who was in the same shoes as you were a few years ago? Now, since you've come to this conclusion.
You gotta spend a lot of time thinking, like, or meditate. Like that's what I did. I did a lot of meditation, just thinking like, where should I go from here? Once you have that experience where like, oh, the one thing that you do know when you have a quarter life crisis, like this is not for me. That's like the one thing you do know. But then the hard part is figuring out like, then now what? What the hell do I do? So like I found like that the most important part in that regard is really spending time and thinking, sitting down and really thinking about like yourself and like what brings you joy, what you want to do for like long term, and like asking questions to like people who know you, like, oh, what do you think, or what do you think brings me the most joy, or like what am I good at, what am I just naturally good at, just like talk to other people. That's why I went to a career counselor, just like to get it like in paper so I can show my parents that like I'm better in the creative field. But yeah, like spend the time and just dig deep, and just like try to figure out like what brings your life meaning. That's what I had to say about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid answer. But you suggest that people should start doing that early instead of just following through the whatever education system or
you can, yeah, like the earlier the better I feel, but like I feel, well, this is just like the problem with the Canadian education system. You expect people to just like think of what the hell they want to do for the rest of their life at 18 years old and get a degree based on that. At 18, you're super young, right? You don't know what the hell how the world works. So like have fun with it. Like you gotta have fun with the process. Like I feel like things will naturally work out on its own. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard, especially when you're that young. You don't really know what the hell you want to do with your life. So for those people, just like, yeah, as I said before, just spend the time and really dig deep to think about what you really want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
Yeah, that's good. It's almost as James, I guess what you did was, in terms of finding this new career journey, is you kind of did a self-analysis or like a self-assessment of yourself, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what you want to achieve, and in terms of, I guess,
your values as well.
Your values, but also at the same time, you were being realistic with yourself too.
Yeah,
right?
you have to be realistic. Yeah.
Like you cannot have like career goals or career aspirations based on what other people may think on you, but also in terms of like, also you just have to be real with yourself in terms of what you can actually achieve. Because some people go in careers where they're like, I'll become like a top-notch lawyer.
Yeah, no.
but sometimes you can't even do that sort of work,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's good that you did that self-analysis stage, which I don't think a lot of people do nowadays.
Yeah.
A lot of people just keep rushing to different things. So so that's great.
Yeah.
So the other question I had for you, James, was in terms of, I guess, since you're transitioning to a new career journey, and I'm pretty sure you already thought of this, so what struggles or obstacles can you predict that you may, I guess, you may experience during this new transition?
Well, am I even good enough, Am I even good enough to like make it? That's like the biggest thing. Like, is this all for nothing? Do I have to like return? There is a good chance that I will fail. The music industry is not nice to new people, and there is a good chance that I will fail. I think about that a lot, but you just kind of have to go with it and hope for the best. Like that's all you can do. But that's one of my biggest fears. Like I won't be good enough and I will fail at what I do. Other biggest fears, like disappointing my parents. They already invested like so much money in my healthcare education. I already have a stable job. I have like that quote unquote like perfect life of working 9 to 5, go home, play video games and shit. But that shit's boring. But
and that can get you pretty quickly too. The piece that you want to carry within you. It's
yeah, exactly.
9 to 5, if that's not where your heart is, it's not gonna last. It's gonna your paycheck is not gonna make you happy.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter how big it is.
I'm learning that. Yeah. Another fear, I think. Oh yeah, going back to school at fucking 27. That's another big fear. Like you can't really relate with anyone, or I'm assuming everyone around there, it's like during the undergrad, it's like around 18, 19 years old. What the fuck are we gonna talk about? So that's what I'm afraid of, is being able to make connections with the younger people. But yeah, but those fears are unfounded. So you don't really know the future. So you just hope for the best.
Yeah, but I think you should also realize that everyone has those fears, right? Like right. It's not like, it's not like a unique fear that no one ever has experienced or ever will experience. So I think you'll be fine. It's just as long as you stay positive, like you mentioned, I think you'll be good. Sorry, Inder, did you have a question?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm happy with the interview we had. I think this is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Any parting comments, Mir?
Yeah. So I guess I just want to thank you, James, for not only letting us know what your new career journey is about, but also exposing yourself. I mean, your music, first of all, It's really entertaining for 30 seconds, I should say. So,
thank you.
But also, like, you know, it, like I said, it takes guts to not only, you know, just admit that, you know, like this is not for me in terms of my current career journey.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to do something else now, which really excites me, or which, you know, which really which really thrives for me to become a better person. So
right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. Thank you so much for I guess joining us in this podcast interview and
no worries.
Experiences.
Happy to be here.
So if it's okay with you, can you just give your SoundCloud descriptions to our listeners and viewers?
Oh, SoundCloud? Yeah, if you want to, it's on my LinkedIn too, but
yeah,
nice.
SoundCloud is like soundcloud.com/Blazing Eskimo, no spaces.
Blazing Eskimo. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
all right,
cool.
All right, Blazing Eskimo. We'll talk later.